Hey, Blink.
Did you say Abe Lincoln?
No, I say Abe Lincoln. I said, hey, Blinken. Hold the reins, man.
Hey, speaking of Abe Lincoln, I guess he's having some meetings,
With Zelensky.
and so, what's
Well,
going
this
on
might get
there?
into that.
I am the J-Town.
I am your Ms. Parker, and we are going to report on the latest updates from the war. And the New York Times has been updating this all day. So I saw it this morning and I signed up for live updates, but they haven't sent them to me. But I just refresh and here we are. So there's the information the information I have right now is about 3 hours old. While President Volodymyr Zelensky acknowledged Russian gains, Ukrainian forces pressed a counteroffensive in the south.
They're kind of pinched off by the river. That's what Chris Cappy was saying.
Right.
There's that main artery, that river that they can't get across.
Is that the one where they blew up the bridges?
Yeah, they had these bridges. They made them in like 2 hours, and this Ukrainian engineer just was like, "This is where they're going to cross." And
so they built the bridges just to blow them up.
No, they wanted to cross, so they waited until a bunch of equipment got across, and then they
started blowing it up.
Started blowing up the bridge, and then the equipment on the other side was effectively trapped, and they just killed everybody. And
nice.
Presumably got some new equipment.
Ukrainian forces pressed a counteroffensive in the south. The African Union's leader is set to meet with President Vladimir Putin and urge him to release Ukraine's grain. Yeah, now they're having food issues.
This is where shit gets real.
They're showing a picture of a 6-year-old standing in front of her grandmother's home, which was destroyed on March 13th in Russian strikes in the village of Andrivka.
Sounds right.
As the war in Ukraine, she looks like a normal little girl who just shopped at Justice.
Yeah. I wonder what she was wearing before they gave her that stuff to wear. Take that picture.
That's a good point. As the war in Ukraine approaches,
maybe she was dressed like that normally. I don't know. Ukraine.
Do they have justice in Ukraine?
I don't know how long it's been since they've had water and stuff.
As the war in Ukraine approaches its 100th day, President Volodymyr Zelensky, I don't pronounce that right, said on Thursday that Russian forces now control 1/5 of the country.
We're talking about a shit ton of displaced people.
Yeah. A blunt acknowledgement of the slow but substantial gains that Moscow has made in recent weeks.
I don't know. I don't think I believe the hype on this.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what Bo of the Fifth Column was saying. Ukraine doesn't need to win.
Right. They just have to.
They just need to punch back and demoralize. They need to wear them out.
And we sent them like $700 million worth of shit, which I hope they put to good use.
Well, so far they seem to be incredibly agile.
These Stinger missiles that, it's funny because now they're designed by Boeing and built by Raytheon.
Mm-hmm.
These Stinger missiles, we had this surplus of them because really we don't ever face off against an opponent that has an effective air. So we own the air. So what use do we have for these Stinger missiles except to give them to Ukraine and let them shoot down $20 million helicopters with $120,000 projectile?
And if we kept them, we would just be sitting on them and saying, "Look at our nice little eggs."
No, and they're talking about holy shit, Raytheon's we're gonna have to ramp up production again because they haven't built it for ever.
Mm-hmm.
The Department of Defense stopped buying them. So, anyway, interesting.
Yeah,
war.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Though battered and depleted and repulsed from the initial drive to capture the Ukrainian capital of Kiev, Russian troops have used their superior artillery power to grind closer to their goal of taking over the eastern regions of Luhansk and Donetsk.
The problem is you're talking about taking over rubble. What's that?
That's what I was saying. Why do they want to destroy everything? There's nothing usable there.
Drive the people out. I don't know.
I mean, what resources do they have?
I mean, all of them. Ukraine is huge.
But I mean, what could they possibly want if they're destroying?
Oil, gold, silver, platinum, lithium, you name it, whatever the fuck they have, and they want it all. They want all. They want it all. Right.
Wow. So it's basically a junkyard that they want to pick through. That's what you're saying.
It's a resource war.
But they're destroying everything. So
Doesn't
they're
matter.
I know
They
what
just
you're
build
saying.
back- they just build back the infrastructure, and
That's going to take decades. That's going to take decades to build up what they've
You'd
destroyed.
be shocked how quickly they could put up.
I'm just thinking about downtown Santa Cruz after the earthquake. It took like 10 years.
I don't know. I don't know what it goes on the mind of one Vladimir Putin. So
he's going to be dead
he's
before they build everything back
freaking
up.
autocrat. What do I know about being an autocrat?
Though battered and depleted, I already said that. Let me go down to
they're trying to close this gap, which will cut off a lot of Ukrainian troops, but whether they could hold it or not, but once they get it, Putin can say, "Oh, victory in Donetsk," and by capturing this one town, it's like, no, man, you can't project your power from
pile of rubble.
Well, I mean, from wherever you are to what's going on, like, how are you gonna project your power from another city that you don't control, or you only control that city? You can't just say, "Oh, we captured the flag." That's not how this shit works, man. This is going to cost a lot of people their lives. And this is only,
and it's costing them a lot of money too. So
it's just shit.
Mr. Zelensky said Russia had expanded its control of Ukrainian territory from an area roughly the size of the Netherlands before the invasion began to an area now greater than the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg combined.
So big.
Seizing that swath of land could give President Vladimir V. Putin and Russia huge leverage in any talks to end the war, as well as a base of operations to launch further attacks inside Ukraine. Yet momentum in the war can shift quickly and unpredictably. As Russia has pounded targets in the east, Ukrainian forces have regained control of 20 small towns and villages in a counteroffensive in the south of the country. A regional official, you want to say that name?
No, Hennedy Lahuta
said on national television. Okay. Fighting was raging, Mr. Zelensky said, along a roughly 620-mile-long crescent-shaped front that stretches from around the northeastern city of Kharkiv to the outskirts of Mykolaiv, near the Black Sea in the south.
Anyway, it's like they're trying. So they're coming from the east. They've got that jammed up. They're coming from the south. All they have to do is close that gap. That's what Chris Cappy says. If they can do that, but they're getting their asses kicked.
Amid intense battles and heavy losses suffered by both the Russian and Ukrainian armies, the arrival of more sophisticated and powerful weapons from Western nations.
We were like, "Hey, you want some cannons we're not using?"
Could alter the dynamic on the battlefield.
Hey, we got a bunch of cannons.
This is what you were saying. President Biden this week promised to send Ukraine advanced rocket systems that can target enemy positions from nearly 50 miles away. And Chancellor Olaf Scholz of Germany pledged to ship a sophisticated air defense system and a tracking radar capable of pinpointing Russian artillery.
And then you got Sweden and Finland, right? They're like, "What's up, NATO?"
Yep.
This is a game of risk happening right now. In Europe, anyway. Here, it's mostly just...
okay, can you pronounce this?
Oh, Severodonetsk.
Or comedic.
Severodonetsk.
Russia controls about 70% of that city, although a regional official said on Thursday that Ukrainian troops had forced Russian soldiers back from several streets amid fierce urban combat. Russian forces have renewed assaults to the west of the city in an effort to sever a Ukrainian supply line along a highway and side roads that the Ukrainians have called Road of Life. Institute for the Study of War, a Washington research group, said in an assessment. So they're cutting off their resources. It sounds like they're cutting off their food resources.
Yeah, no, they'll be surrounded, more or less. And then once they take that region, then Putin can say, "Yay, victory! I own Ukraine now."
Mr. Zelensky said that more than 14,000 Ukrainian civilians and service members had been killed in the conflict with Russia since 2014 when it seized Crimea. More than 8 million Ukrainians have been internally displaced since Russia's
That's
invasion in
insane.
February, and more than 6.5 million
That's insane.
have fled to other countries as refugees, according to the United Nations. In his nightly address to the nation Thursday, Mr. Zelensky said that more than 200,000 children had been deported since the invasion began. He called the deportations one of Russia's most heinous war crimes.
Yeah. This is a rough subject.
Yeah.
No, it's like he's just like, get the fuck out of here. Putin's just like, go in and take whatever. And then like he follows that like Roman pathology of like he goes, just throw more people at it. Fuck it, just like we have more people, we have more money, we just give.
Yeah, they don't
Just
really even
throw 'em
have to
into
be
the fucking
trained. We
meat
got young
grinder.
men, no follow orders, whatever.
Just throw 'em in the meat grinder. So yeah.
Okay, so
Yay for a lighthearted episode.
yeah, we like to sandwich these types of things in between the funner stuff. Did I just say
100 Days of War?
All right.
Um,
We're going to clip this, and we will be talking about a development in the last mass shooting, the one in Ohio.
mhm.
Which one was that? I can't keep track.
No, we'll find out next.
Okay.
I am Legit Tyler.
I am your Miss Parker.
This
Is Nothing Yet Live.